No, Katie, don't play the music, Katie, it'll hear us. Katie! Did you guys know there's a new Star Wars coming out soon? And there's one coming out now? Is that Werner Herzog? Is that Werner Herzog in a Star Wars show? Okay. There's one coming out in December. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Wait, let me check here. I don't know how they found another one, but okay. Oh, and there's a new Star Wars game too. Star Wars theme parks, Star Wars and Levi's hoodies, Star Wars pillows, Star Wars toilet paper. Spaceballs did this joke 30 years ago.
Are dead. This
I'm not the biggest Star Wars dork. I enjoy some Star Wars movies like Empire and maybe like 3/4 of Jedi. I feel kind of bad for J.J. Abrams, a multi-millionaire big Hollywood success. He had to follow The Last Jedi. Remember that? I'm gonna tell you a secret. I don't hate The Last Jedi because it's this big important tentpole movie that doesn't understand how storytelling works, and that's gonna be funny forever. I've seen every franchise I've ever loved get ruined, except Doom. Give him time. I may not have been a Star Wars nerd, but I was an FPS nerd with a PC, so you bet your ass I had dark forces. The first Star Wars FPS to my knowledge, I'm not counting X-Wing or TIE Fighter or whatever the fuck this is. Star Wars games, of course, were made by LucasArts, who had a little more experience at the time with adventure games. Monkey Island, Sam & Max Hit the Road, but as adventure games were a dying medium, a little bit, just a bit. Doom came out at the end of '93, and some genius said, let's make Doom but Star Wars. Don't take that as a knock against Dark Forces. If you want to classify it as a Doom clone, it's one of the best. In 1995, it was the best. Dark Forces was followed by Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, and then LucasArts stopped making those games, but it's okay, they gave it to Raven. Hallowed be its name. But you ain't a Jedi yet, no fancy Force powers for you. No, in this game you'll be doing one thing, and one thing only. Killing space Nazis. Dark Forces introduced a character to the extended universe that you may have heard of. Kyle motherfucking Katarn. Kyle's a stupid name. For those of you out there named Kyle, I'm sorry your parents didn't love you. Kyle Katarn, or as he's known in this Star Wars wiki that I cherry-picked, God, has a certain level of mimetic infamy. The Chuck Norris of the Star Wars universe. He doesn't grow a beard until the next game, though. I'm not saying his reputation is undeserved. The first mission of Dark Forces is about Kyle Katarn infiltrating a secret base and stealing Death Star plans. You remember how they had to, assemble a team in Rogue One? Actually, more importantly, do you guys remember Rogue One? It's okay if you don't. And they couldn't have made a movie about Kyle Katarn stealing the Death Star plans because it would have been over in 15 minutes. The first mission, as it should, introduces you to a few things. One, the intro crawl, along with the modified Star Wars music, which in this game ranges from not bad to fucking awesome. I'm not going to make you read this whole crawl. The gist of it is that Kyle Katarn is an ex-Imperial officer and now a mercenary employed by the Rebellion. Armed with only a blaster pistol, he has to infiltrate the secret Imperial base, or rather, we have to, and let's time how long we have that blaster pistol.
There he is, stop it!
Yup. And I won't be able to say enough good things about this game. The heads-up display, for example, look how much less intrusive it is than any other FPS game at the time. It doesn't take up a fifth of the screen, and it tells you everything you need to know. You have inventory items and such that can be activated with the function keys, and a map. All that stuff is there. You got your battery power for those things over here above your ammo. On the other side, you got shields, health, and lives. Yes, lives. No saves in this game. You gotta make it through the mission in 3 lives, or however many you pick up during the level. When you die, you're not even sent back to the start, you basically lose no progress. And remember, you don't even use the Force in this game. You're just Jesus. He could be. They only killed Jesus once. He could have taken it 3 times. Shields absorb all damage for a while before you start losing health, unless it's a melee attack, which will go right through. I'm playing this game on hard because I've never done that before, and I feel like it's too easy. Having run it in DOSBox kind of sucks. There's no complete source port of it, unfortunately. DOSBox plays it fine. No vertical mouse aiming kind of sucks. You have to aim up and down with the keyboard. Auto-aiming kind of helps with that, but not completely. Some of your weapons have secondary fire modes. Most don't. Still a novelty in 1995. What I'm finally about to show you is what I consider the money shot at Dark Forces. That one thing that the game needed to get right, which is shooting Imperial douchebags with lasers. The death animations where there's a little light where they get hit as blast burns through them, it's beautiful. See, even on hard mode in Dark Forces, the game isn't usually that challenging. Usually. Remember that part in A New Hope where Han Solo runs into a room full of stormtroopers? And then he turns around and runs away? That ain't Kyle. You'll see as many stormtroopers in the first levels of this game, and you will single-handedly murder every single one of them. The game, even in 2.5D, bleeds Star Wars atmosphere. Down to the sound effects, the chatter from the guards, it's spot on. Now understand, the whole stealing the Death Star planes is the prologue to this game. Like the beginning of a Bond movie where he infiltrates someplace to show what a badass he is. Tying it to the Death Star is a nice touch. Once you've completed your mission objectives, you hit escape and move on. Yeah, mission objectives. I guess you aren't just killing space Nazis. That's really only 99% of it. 1% is collecting items or placing charges or solving puzzles. Most missions are pretty straightforward. Boom! Darth Vader! The voice isn't bad either.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Mock.
The voice isn't too bad, but it's still a tiny bit off.
At last, the Emperor's war will be filled only with the glory and beauty of decisive victory.
A noble cause, General. I hope the demonstration lives up to your claims. Proceed.
With pleasure.
General Mock launches these here Dark Troopers, the main thrust of the story in this game, down to a planet we're gonna see very, very soon. You notice how we have movie characters introduced without a ton of fanfare? Yeah, they're just, hanging around doing their job.
5 days ago, the Empire attacked one of our secret bases in the city of Talais.
They broke your shield! They broke your shield!
TAC base was destroyed within minutes.
Interesting. This looks like it could be a normal Imperial attack, except for those sounds.
Very perceptive, Commander. The Rebel Command is not taking this lightly. They have authorized me to hire you to find out if there is a threat, and if there is, to shut it down. That is, if you are still on our side.
This could be interesting. Alright, I'm in. But I think I'll need some help on this one. I want Jan Ors as my mission officer.
Yes, Jan Ors, pilot, constant presence in these games, and giver of briefings. Restart hydroelectric generator, check. Find some clues to the Dark Trooper, check. Kill enough stormtroopers to staff an entire Star Destroyer, you bet your ass! See that? That's the weapon supercharge. More pew-pew for your pew-pew, you goddamn Nazi spacemen. Playing this game makes me remember a time when Star Wars wasn't trash. Call it nostalgia, or, enjoying things that are well-made and make fucking sense. Okay, well, there is one bad level. You have to find some asshole. This is one of the worst sewer levels in the history of sewer levels. If I didn't already know how to get through it, I'd probably add 200 to the count for this. Ugh. You have to go through different sections to raise the water level, the shit level, in this area to reach this guy here, while dealing with mostly droids who are dicks that respawn in this area. Don't drop any ammo for your laser weapons, which are all you have at this point besides thermal detonators. Oh, right, and let's not forget the creatures that live in the sewage, where they fucking belong, Dianagas, who are melee only and knock 20 points off your health with each hit, which is why I'm bunny hopping through all this sludge. I want to get through this godforsaken level as quickly as possible. It's nice to get to know the droids you'll be dealing with all straight from the movies. Probe droids, interrogation droids, these little annoying ones. Oh yeah, and Grands. Star Wars has stupid fucking names. Grands who can punch you or throw thermal detonators. I hate them. They can throw them better than you can. Imagine tossing dynamite and blood without that little bar and not having mouse look, and just generally not being able to accurately judge how far or high you're throwing them. They're good if you've got the high ground. Ha, ha, ha. Fuck this level. Next up is the Imperial Weapons Research Facility. Lose a life to falling off this cliff because platforming is a little weird in this game. You don't have an always run button in Dark Forces, so you can have fun holding down the shift key. Here's where the game hits you with the worst enemies. Turrets. Yeah, those solid colored primitive 3D shapes that take a ton of punishment and deal out so much damage that walking up to them and using a thermal detonator will probably damage you less than the turrets will. Wait a minute, what did that say? Ewoks suck. Well, I can't argue with that. You get this nice feeling of sneaking in through this shaft here. Hit your headlight or your night vision goggles, kill stormtroopers, get the repeater.
You're in violation of Imperial law.
A slightly better weapon than the Stormtrooper rifle because of how there's damage fall off on laser weapons. Not this one though. You'll see it a lot in this video. Even more once I start finding more power cell ammo for it. Once you find the Frick metal, yes, Frick. I think it's used mostly in the production of jizz instruments. You go to an Imperial mining operation on Gromus, the Blood Moon, where you have to plant charges and face your very first Dark Trooper, the Phase 1 prototypes that are just endoskeletons. They're not too bad, they like to cause your shots to ricochet back at you. Not much of a threat, to be honest. The Dark Troopers themselves aren't really a huge challenge in this game. Normally. Let's talk about some tech stuff. See this platform here? This rotating thing that looks like it belongs in the build engine? It's cool, right? You'll notice it's a flat color when you stand on it. This is because the engine can't actually rotate floor and ceiling textures to match, so solid color. It was a thing that the old 2.5D engines had trouble with. It is what it is. They did the most they could with it, and it's an admirable effort since the game engine was primarily programmed by a man named Ray Gresco. Good work on that. Dude made an engine that could do room over room in 1995 and it wasn't all that jank. Now he works at Blizzard. I'm not sure if that's more or less evil than Disney. Who else we got in the credits? Wait, Winston Wolfe?
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
I don't have anything else. That's just weird. What's next? God damn. Why even have Kyle Katarn get the Death Star plans? Why not just send him in?
This contemptible excuse for an officer will no longer divulge any more information to that rebel, Kyle Katarn.
Katarn will not be as easy to deal with. He is very resourceful.
I understand the threat, Lord Vader. Katarn was once an impressive Imperial officer, but he was weak and gave up on the struggle for our new order.
You should have just given up then, guys, because he's going to be kicking your asses for another 2 games. 2.5.
I wouldn't put much faith in his abilities. Katarn will never come near this ship. My new hire will see to that.
Oh! Boba Fett! It's Boba Fett! So that guy they caught was Crix Medine. We gotta go break him out of a detention center that's basically one big puzzle. I mean, you still go in and kill everybody, but you have to arrange the elevators in a way that lets you get to a certain floor by the elevator shaft itself, get some codes from officers, and find the guy. You don't have to get back out. That doesn't matter. Everybody's already dead. Thing is, a lot of places in the detention center have this, problem where lasers ricochet off the walls, which is the worst idea ever for the Empire. It's an established meme that stormtroopers can't shoot straight. There's like 100 of them here, and it's just a bad idea. You're also gonna run into landmines because the Empire sucks. Fuck the Empire. They make a nice little noise, and then they go off and probably kill you. But why in the living hell would you put one of these in a cell with a couple of aliens? The fucking Empire, man. Next up is something a little more low-key. Sneaking aboard a ship and placing a tracking device on it so you can find out which kingpin of organized crime is using a smuggler's ship to take parts to a robotics facility. And you're gonna get to know those landmines real well. So you got a ton of these assholes tossed in thermal detonators along with these pig-like creatures with axes. I don't know what they're called, we'll just give them one of these anyway. They're a little spongy, but they only have a melee attack. But that melee attack cuts right through your shields. They're more of a problem later for like 10 minutes. The ship you board is one of those, oh man, this is really Star Wars-y moments. It's reminiscent to the ship at the beginning of A New Hope, or at the end of Rogue One, whichever. It nails the style of the world, and that's what matters. Next up is the robotics facility, which is on a shitty ice planet, complete with shitty ice physics. But since Dark Forces wasn't made by hacks, you can pick up ice cleats to negate the slippery movement, which are right here. I spent a whole 33 seconds in this level without them, and I regret every moment of it. Whatever they're doing here, you need a gas mask, and you need to take a bad fall. So bad that the designers knew it would bone you and left a revive at the bottom. The revive, a rarely seen power-up that gives you full health and shields, and you have to manually use the gas mask you get by pressing F3. Barely important, this is the only place in the game I had to use it. Get ready for Dark Trooper Phase 2. I remember these guys being pushovers, and they kinda are. They have a plasma gun and a missile launcher that, at least on hard, will eat through your health. Don't worry, you get that weapon too, real soon. Oh yeah, and you nuke a huge part of another planet. Awesome. Next up, Narshada. If I'm pronouncing these names wrong, I want to stress I don't care. It's famous Star Wars place. Whatever, I don't remember why I'm here. Find Imperial navigation evidence. It's a bad time because of the Trandoshan. Trandoshan? Lizard-like beings that carry concussion rifles, which might as well be the BFG in this game. They're responsible for maybe a third of my deaths. The only good thing about them is that they drop a concussion rifle which gives you 100 power cells that can be used in the repeater. Stun lock these pricks. Yeah, eat my ricochet.
Jan, I found an Imperial navicard.
Those must be smuggler routes to the Arc Hammer. I think it's time to get out of here.
Oh my god, it's Jabba the Hutt! I never would have suspected.
Jabba? What have you done with Jan? If any harm comes to her, I'll personally shove my blaster down your slimy throat. I wish you were here too, Jabba. There's nothing like roast Kel Dragon.
Welcome to Jabba's ship, a level I've never played on hard before. This right here, probably one of the first things I would cite on the list of badass things Kyle Katarn has done. Jabba takes your weapons away, and then you have to punch a Kel Dragon to death. In the face, like 20 times. His attacks go through shields, so he can hit you 5 times. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but still, punching this thing to death, who even thought this up on the design team? Now on easy, there's 1 Kel Dragon. On medium, there are 2. On hard, there are 5 of them, making this the most difficult mission in the entire game. All your gear is gone for the first section. I had to punch 3 of these goddamn things to death, followed by 2 of these guys, get up here, get a key to exit, followed by punching more of these guys, these extremely dangerous axe-wielding pigs, all before getting my gear back. Remember those revives I talked about before? There's one right up here before you're even out of the room with the Kell Dragons. On easy and medium, you get one on hard too right before you get your stuff back, all the way fucking over here. Now, I promised somebody some roast Kell Dragon. Yeah, you're not so tough against Plasma Cutter, are you, motherfucker? Even when you get your gear back, this is the hardest mission in the game. The ship is covered in landmines, some of which you have to know beforehand are there. Explosive tossing Grands, those bastards with the concussion rifles. Took me about 5 restarts, only 1 after I got my gear back, and I ended up with a couple lives to spare before rescuing Jan. Next up, Imperial City to plug the nav card in and get a location. Oh wait, no. There's a way to cheese this entire level right at the beginning. See, the landmines have stupid splash damage that goes through walls, and right behind this wall is one Boba Fett, just waiting to ambush you at the end of the level when this wall lowers. Now, this video isn't called Pro Dark Forces, but this right here, you want to skip this extremely dangerous level, probably the second hardest in the game. Just lay down some mines and...
Landing pad.
2 ships! Jan never left! She's picking you up now! Oh god, the timeline! Oh no! Paradox! Katie, I feel like I should do a TNG thing, because I don't think that they do time travel in Star Wars. At least not yet. They'll probably do it in the new one. They did it in Avengers. They can just fucking do time travel. You can get away with anything if you do time travel. I'm still gonna play the level. You have to fight through a ton of stormtroopers. I mean, this is the Imperial City. Going there seems pretty risky for the Imperial City. Dude punched 3 Kell Dragons to death. Some of the puzzles will stop you in your tracks, so I guess I have to... Let me look at this for a while. Cool, okay, got it. Time to download some data, go deal with Boba Fett for real. Now that I have this Dark Trooper weapon, look at the size of this gun, good lord! Now we're really on the trail of the Dark Trooper project. You have to hijack a ship at a fuel station to get to the Executor. Then the Arkhammer, the ship where the Dark Troopers are being built. This fuel station is a bitch. Dark Forces will occasionally have enemies that respawn out of nowhere. Oh, fuck. There were a lot of stormtroopers before, but now there's even more. Once you stow away on that ship, look at this. It's okay, you're not Han Solo, you can kill them all. Now that you're getting towards the end of the game, you're gonna see a lot more Dark Troopers, and they will fuck you up if you're not careful. They don't take a ton of punishment, but in close spaces, they'll wreck you. Pew-pewing a bunch of stormtroopers while a TIE fighter flies by, and thankfully doesn't try to shoot me. Peak Star Wars. Imagine seeing this in 1995, you couldn't top it. Get to the Arkhammer.
Katarn will never come near this ship.
A massive ship you have to blow up. Place 3 charges, kill all the space Nazis. Okay, that's not cool. And at the end, General Mock himself. I just can't think of how I would, what's the word? Lampoon his name. in a Phase 3 Dark Trooper suit. I'm told he has homing missiles. I say that because he goes down like such a bitch, I don't think I've ever died to him.
Long time since I challenged a man to battle. I'm glad my opponent is so good.
He's easier to deal with than one of the Phase 2 Dark Troopers. Maybe he's not the final boss, maybe it's this one officer left on the ship standing by a shuttle and oh no, he's dead! Bye-bye Dark Trooper Project. Say goodnight like 1,000 Imperial Stormtroopers, officers, and commandos.
This is an unfortunate setback. The Force is strong with Katarn.
Whoa, spoilers! But that's a video for another day. Because sometimes snuking 2 separate planets, a star cruiser, and beating a bunch of giant reptiles to death with your bare hands isn't awesome enough. He's gotta grow a beard. Well, this isn't off to a good start. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, not to be confused with Jedi Knight 2, because Jedi Knight 2 is a game I actually enjoy. Jedi Knight is the sequel to Dark Forces, that fun little shooter from 1995 that was probably the first Star Wars game I ever played. Then there was this game in 1997, and LucasArts broke through the barrier of 2.5D technology, because Quake came out the previous year and they couldn't release an FPS game after that one and have it not be 3D, unless it was Outlaws. Dark Forces and Outlaws actually used the same in-house engine, the Jedi engine, though Outlaws ran on Windows and Jedi Knight was using the new Sith engine, which I guess you could say that it's a weird, evil version of the previous engine. So, I played Dark Forces when I was younger, and I really enjoy that game for the most part. I mean, some of the levels are weird and obtusely designed. Thing is, I may be blinded by nostalgia on that one, but I didn't play Jedi Knight until much later. Way later. Not quite late enough to go through what I did to get it running for this video, which... Jedi Knight hates Windows, Windows 10 especially, and there are a number of patches and fixes that'll make it play nicer with Windows 10, several of which I've tried. I'm not entirely sure. See, I've been on and off trying to get this game to run properly for a while in widescreen with a decent field of view. And that, I don't know where I found this executable that does 100 FOV, and makes it so the game doesn't make the level of detail super low until you're a few feet away from the models, which already look like they're low-poly versions of themselves. This game is ugly. I'd go as far as to say scruffy looking, and it hurts my eyes. I give it more shit about that, but it was 1997. If it was 1998, I'd be all over it, like, why are all the feet so fucked up? Why does a Stormtrooper rifle have fewer polygons than the weird 3D models that appeared briefly in Dark Forces? And before anyone asks, I haven't played Mysteries of the Sith, so don't go on about that, I don't care. The worst part of trying to play this game, the heads-up display, which if you use one of those patches to bring the resolution up to something reasonable, in this case 1080p, the HUD doesn't scale. What I ended up doing was using DG Voodoo, that wonderful little tool that allowed me to force the whole game to be in 1080p while setting the in-game resolution to 480p so that I can actually see what's going on down there. It's still ugly, and don't go telling me to use one of those HD remaster packs, because I think in almost all cases that makes things worse, because you're using art assets that the game wasn't designed for, and it makes the sometimes atrocious texturing in this game even worse on the eyes. I really wish I could have skipped right to Jedi Knight 2, that one that Raven did, which is a better game. Shut up, yes it is. In 1997, I'm sure people were force-choking themselves over how awesome it was to have a lightsaber and space wizard powers, but you know, LucasArts ain't Raven. Raven isn't even Raven anymore. Aw, damn it, now I'm sad again. No, I don't want to do another crawl, let's just get into it. Jedi Knight opens with cutscenes that might be the most apt metaphor for the future of the Star Wars franchise I've ever seen. It's like the opening of A New Hope, except this ship gets vaporized by the Empire, and this takes place after Return of the Jedi. On that Star Destroyer is Kuran. Give it to me. This game's cutscenes are full-motion video using actors in front of green screens placed in front of, let's be honest, CGI that has not aged well. Which is like a dark and twisted prophecy about the Star Wars prequels. Kuran has been captured by Jarek, an evil dark Jedi who wants power and to find the legendary Valley of the Jedi. Because he doesn't want to do all that training shit either. I think if the Jedi made the training suck less, more people would stop being evil. Jarek is searching for a map to the Valley of the Jedi, which Kuran doesn't have, so...
I have no further use for you.
That's code for, I'm about to kill you, but I want you to have some time to start a lightsaber battle first. Don't worry about all those other dark Jedi, we'll get to them. Jarek, however, already made a terrible, terrible mistake, which isn't shown here. See, a few years back, he kinda sorta killed a man named Morgan Katarn.
Morgan Katarn!
Father of Kyle Katarn, rebel mercenary, bad motherfucker, puncher of Kell Dragons, a man who has killed more stormtroopers than died on the Death Star, although he did steal the plans for the Death Star in the first game, making it possible for the Death Star to be destroyed, so add them to the count too. Kyle, still a mercenary, is hanging out at a bar in blurry Nar Shaddaa watching some old home movies.
I want you to remember, son, when you're at the Academy, how very proud I am of you.
He's talking about the Imperial Academy, you know, the bad guys, who later kill him. That's Jason Court playing Kyle Katarn, and while he wouldn't return, he's Kyle in my heart. And now he makes wine. Kyle's expositional hologram is interrupted by AT-88, who's only saved from the stupid Star Wars name count because that's a model number.
When someone desires information, they come to me.
Don't waste my time, 88. Tell me who killed my father.
88 seems to know who he's dealing with, so he does. A smart move.
He is a dark Jedi.
Jedi?
Dark Jedi. He is known as Jarek, and he has great plans for the rebirth of the Empire.
I'm not interested in petty political struggles.
Me either, man, but I got a comment section, so...
Without going into too much detail, Jarek has been quite generous in his offerings. Unfortunately, you don't factor into them.
Oh, 88, my dude, this does not end well for you.
Familiar, yes? I found it in your dead father's home. I can decipher any language or code known, but this one eludes me. It must be important. Tell me what it is, and these gentlemen won't have to indulge their darker side.
The dark side? I've been there. Do your worst.
Well, I suppose that concludes our business.
I'm not interested in leaving. I have some business to conclude with your friend, 88.
Now this guy on the opposite end of the table from Kyle, he's got the right idea. Because he runs. He doesn't get far.
Get out of my bar. You always cause trouble.
Drink in that 1997, kids. This may look normal, but to get it this way, oh... Besides the graphic stuff I talked about earlier, the controls in this game, by default, in the Steam install at least, are exactly what you'd expect from an early 3D game from the mid-90s. Mouse look is choppy and weird and inverted by default. Unlike a lot of games from the time, I can use the scroll wheel, but not for anything good. The menus themselves were a constant problem when I was playing this game properly, because they're mostly only controlled by the mouse, and it has that thing where if you press escape before pressing OK, it doesn't save any changes you made to the 8,000 different keybinds. There are 14 force powers in this game, and because of the morality system, you won't be using all of them. But that still means that you'll eventually have 9 separate ones to juggle along with 10 weapons and some inventory items. It's a lot, and the way I had DG Voodoo set up made it so the mouse went fucking crazy in the menus, which made them really hard to navigate, because it's one of those games where the menu is in 640 by 480 no matter what, so it would have to change resolution every single time you opened it. Awful, an endless headache. The weird colors that happen here and the mouse issues, they are absolutely my fault. But also, no, don't do that with your menus, ever. A thing I don't have to say because what idiot would do that nowadays? The game is pretty weird in terms of its physics, movement. To tell you the truth, this video is showing off my second ever full playthrough of this game because I cannot get past how weird it is. I do not like how this game feels to control or the first levels of it. You're chasing down 88 to get to that disc for the first couple of levels, and Dark Forces was easier on hard than this game is on medium. Enemies seem tankier, and we're not even dealing with the Empire yet. No, this level is filled with Rhodians and worse, Grands, who you might remember from Jabba's ship in the previous game where they would toss thermal detonators at you. Only some of them have thermal detonators here, a lot are unarmed, which is itself a problem, because we're still operating with the shield and health mechanics of the last game. Laser blasts will hit your shield, but melee and physical attacks will go right through. Auto-aim is on by default, and I'm using the Stormtrooper rifle so it doesn't matter. That thing hits when it feels like it. I have auto-aim on because I didn't want to use the giant, ugly, distracting crosshair that video games used to have as a compromise. I don't like it, but eventually I turned auto-aim off, tried without the crosshair, gave up, and turned the crosshair on. I feel dirty using auto-aim. The level design seems almost stream of consciousness, like the devs were thinking, we have some real 3D space now, let's add some verticality. But also, what would be most inconvenient to the player? I think this elevator bit early is a good place to start on why I hate it and why I can never push myself farther in this game. Press button, elevator comes down, but not in a place where you can get onto it easily because the elevator comes down to where the button is, over the button. You have to jump up here to get onto the elevator when it comes down, and not one of you playing this game the first time is going to know that, so you're going to be waiting for that goddamn elevator twice. Civvie, just walk up the ramp. Slope surfaces in this game can either be completely walkable or you could slide around like you're playing Mario 64. The angle doesn't matter. These Grands come in two flavors, black clothes and brown clothes. The major difference is that if they're wearing black clothes, they can take an extra hit, and also, sweet Jesus, they didn't texture the sides of his triangle eyes, so it's just... oh god, it's hideous. If you shoot any of these civilians, you'll start to turn to the dark side. I don't shoot them, but only because I want to save ammo.
What's happening? I know nothing.
The Stormtrooper rifle only does slightly less damage than the Briar pistol, but takes more cells and can rapid fire. It's all I've got right now, unfortunately. Catching up with 88.
Leaving so soon?
88 gets away, a TIE fighter appears, and we get Jan back. Hey Jan! This time played by Angela Harry.
Oh, whenever I need to find you, you're always in some kind of trouble.
Jan, what a pleasant surprise!
What would you do without me, Kyle?
I'd be a content old man.
Somehow I don't see content or an old man.
You know, the CGI backgrounds don't look too bad here. This is good. I like this. It reminds me of when Star Wars was fun, and sometimes, honestly, this game is fun, even with its weirdness. Still on Nar Shaddaa, gotta get that disc, gotta platform, and the platforming is... there's a thing that happens when you jump and hit something, you kind of bounce. It's uniquely frustrating. The game also requires you to take falls that you think would damage you or kill you, but nah, it's fine. And I'm inching along the edge, but the way the character is and how wide they are, it feels like they should have fallen by now. I'm not saying this is bad, I'm saying that it's odd. Like the remnant of a bygone transitional era of 3D video games between Quake and Half-Life. You can jump slightly higher than you think you can. More Jabba ship enemies return, the Gamorreans. What better way to test out these thermal detonators, which are arguably harder to use in this game than in the previous one? And they feel weaker. I say feel because I'm not 100% sure they're less powerful. There's still no graphical information to tell you how far or forceful you'll throw them. Enemies can drop them as pickups, or sometimes they drop live ones. You can tell the difference because the pickups spin and the live ones don't, and also clip into the floor. So I'm walking around these similar looking corridors, some of which are copied, pasted, mirrored, and a good way to tell where you've already been in an old school FPS game is to look for corpses. Well, not here, because the corpses disappear, but not in the Jedi way. In the it's 1997 and we've got to save resources because our levels are ridiculously huge way. My next option is looking at unpopulated rooms to see if I've been there, but nah, the game respawns the enemies. And as I'm walking around these similar looking corridors, my ears are getting blasted by the classic John Williams Star Wars music. I wonder how much of it I can play, because here's all the music that got claimed in a gameplay video I found. These tracks get claimed in speedruns because they're literally all taken from the movie movies. And yeah, they're awesome. Not playing them for you, though. It's weird because this was before music would be triggered based on events in the game, so this epic track could be playing over Kyle tripping over his own dick into a bottomless pit. You know, setting the first level in Nar Shaddaa, the city of bottomless pits, and populating it with grands is really a shitty thing to do to the player. This is level 2 and I'm already tired of the platforming, but I'm starting to get the hang of this again. Let's go, Jan, we got stuff to do, like dream about the Valley of the Jedi, and be guided by Kuran from beyond the grave.
A force of thousands of Jedi is trapped here. If Jarek captures this power, he will be a creature such as the universe has never seen. Your father gave his life to protect this power, and now it is a place your destiny must take you.
Oh my god, this game predicted J.J. Abrams' lens flares too. Maybe we would have known all this sooner if YouTube's bots didn't copyright claim every fucking video about it. We get to see Kyle's childhood home when it's populated by sand people who give you the best addition to this game and the series, the Wookiee Bowcaster. You won't see too much of it because of the general lack of ammo lying around for it and the fact that the repeater uses the same ammo type and has a better chance of stun locking. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I like this level a lot better because it's less bad platforming and more pew-pew lasers, and finding keys. No, sorry, I mean wrenches that work on switches. It's the same idea, basically. Look, it's a blue wrench and a yellow wrench. Okay, I bounced, but I made it. Fuck! There's still platforming where you get to play a game of will I slide off this slight incline like it was just hosting a Randy Pitchford magic show. All this to get to your father's workshop.
Kyle, I have left 2 very important items for you. The first is a map to the Valley of the Jedi, and is embedded in the stone ceiling above this room. The last is a lightsaber that once belonged to a friend and great Jedi, Ron. Use it well. Use it for good.
You basically got a light attack on primary fire and a heavy attack on secondary. The map to the Valley of the Jedi was in the ceiling, which the Dark Jedi took with them. Got that good.
The irrigation channels are my way out of here.
Boring, platforming, swimming, shit. I bet speedrunning this game is really oh. Jan picks you up and you're on the trail of 88 Jarek, the Valley of the Jedi, all of it, which takes you to Baron's Head. Yeah, great, Mines and Max, that's this level. Let's go, little buddy. I don't indiscriminately use people, except Max. Someone explain to me how you plant a fucking mine in water like this. Fuck the Empire. I'm super impressed by the next part, though, where you actually get to the Empire. This is good design. When you get there, it's actually a really cool thing that happens because you overhear 2 stormtroopers talking, and then you walk out into the next area of the level, and it's massive. In fact, probably too big. And you see the AT-AT here, powerful, monolithic. This place is so big, in fact, it seems like a good place to test out my force speed. Yeah, eat it, fucking Empire. This is a heavy Imperial presence. Like, I didn't even know they had this kind of army left. Nothing Kyle Katarn can't handle. You know what I think it is? The whole thing feels a bit slower than Dark Forces, whereas the enemy AI and movement has been improved dramatically. In Dark Forces, they just kind of stand around, but they're much faster and more accurate here. Not quite on the level of the Outcast Stormtroopers, but those guys you can headshot. I think I hated this game more because of the first couple of levels, which are the ones I played the most, and trying to suck it up until I got to the lightsaber, but then the lightsaber combat isn't as fun as it is in Jedi Outcast because Raven. Look, LucasArts put out fine games, but Raven had the talent and the licensed technology of Metaverse Destroyer and Corporeal Being by Choice John Carmack. A lot of this game is chasing down 88, which in that way makes it like Blood 2. Okay, I'm sorry, that was mean.
I want the map, 88.
All yours, Kyle.
Jedi battle time. This dude is real eager to fight, and I'm a little rusty at this, so it's probably my second worst performance with the lightsaber in this game. And we gotta go into third person. Oh, and Ron is here to help.
Brash and eager, he is ready to prove himself to his master at any cost.
He goes invisible, and I haven't put anything into foresight yet, which I would need to see him. Yes, I'm embarrassed. Still, I cut his ass down like a tree blocking my hot neighbor's window.
Kill me! Isn't that what you do to Dark Jedi?
And stormtroopers, and Grands, and Trandoshans, and Ewoks. But no, Kyle spares him and he floats away. This level is still probably too big. Cool TIE bomber thing though. For 1997, this is pretty impressive. It's jank and weird, but it's impressive. We're headed for a fuel station, still chasing 88, and the game's falling damage calculations seem to be based on velocity, not just direction. The trick is to not jump. At the fuel station... Oh, welcome back! I didn't miss you. Trandoshans carrying concussion rifles. It's okay, I've got a rocket launcher and not some Dark Trooper prototype weapon. What?! What?! Fuck! The fuel station has a lot of cool parts. Shooting the fuel itself makes it explode, which is fun.
Engine fuel. Could get a little hot in here. I better be careful with plastic.
Then there's just puzzling design choices, like having to close one door before opening another one all the way down this hall. I understand what they're trying to do here, but if you're aiming for some kind of world building or verisimilitude in Star Wars, it's Star Wars.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Shut up! And I know the level designer was a bastard because I stopped to take some notes, which is literally my job, sir. And one of those tiny training drones that has not once shown up in this game up to this point shows up. I have no idea what's happening here. It's whatever. But I got through it and realized I didn't get the blue key because it's in a different section of the level I didn't go through yet. Goddamn red demon particles. At least we find 88.
I finally get my chance to repay you.
Lovely, yes. Our master is on his way to the Valley of the Jedi as we speak. A fortune you will not be so lucky to experience.
2 Jedi at once. Are we ready for this? It's only our second lightsaber battle. The big guy is Gork. And his friend, Pick. Oh no, you just wait. Because his full name is Pickeroon C. Boodle, who is a Kowakian monkey lizard. Go home, Star Wars, you're drunk. Gork isn't too bad, but his little friend tries the invisibility bullshit again, and I'm not having it. Yeah, who run Bartertown now, bitch? I'm having some real fun with force jump and speed, and I think the cultural context of this game is important. This came out 2 years before they started making Star Wars movies with intricate choreography for lightsaber battles and Jedi powers and shit. Luke could jump high and make small objects fly around, but Kyle is super fast, and the force jump is probably the easiest power to use. I have it bound to left control, it's good. I'm doing light side in this playthrough because I want force healing, because if I'm being brutally honest, I'm not good at this game. I could be better at it if I played it more, but I don't enjoy playing it, and I yearn for the days when I had the spare time to play video games I don't really enjoy to get good at them out of spite. I don't think my lack of experience with this game precludes me from talking about how entire walls are usable doors, which is some mid-90s user level shit. This is one of my least favorite missions in the game, and that's entirely due to the level's layout and progression. You have to find 3 keys. 2 of them kind of show up naturally, and they're used to move bridges around, but then the blue key is on a separate path through a dark storage room full of flying droids that I ignore. You can see the blue key up here with this Imperial guard who tries to shoot you through a force field. To get to him, you have to get through this force field here. This red thing, This isn't a force field, this is just a red room, and it looks like one, and you walk right through. I'll walk around for a long time because I'm missing something, and people who've played this game 1,000 times are yelling at their screen right now, just hit the switch right next to the force field. Yeah, obviously. Hit this tiny switch on this darkened wall in this giant room that is obscured by moving boxes half the time, of course. Quick question, when the fuck is anything in this game simple? When is the switch right next to the thing it turns off?
The console to unlock the door is probably hidden in some room 12 floors up or something. How does that make sense?
Yeah, Future Kyle, exactly. That's what I expect from this game. All this is to escape to a place where Jan can pick you up. We've got a map to the Valley of the Jedi, and it's time to really fuck up the Empire. Again. These cliffs can be intimidating, but in an almost immersive sim-like fashion, there are multiple paths you can take. Don't go right for the cliffs themselves, drop into the water, because there's mines on the cliffs because Imperials are dicks. Clear this place out, use your lightsaber and only your lightsaber on these panels to deactivate a force field and progress into this massive level, most of which I think is pretty cool. Okay, I got this. I'm gonna lead these stormtroopers into here, toss the thermal detonator up, blow up these barrels, and laugh all the way to the... You know what? I'm not doing the thermal detonators anymore.
To the one called Maw, a bitter individual that loathes all and holds loyalty to few.
I didn't realize from the earlier cutscenes that Maw didn't, he's missing his lower half. I wish I'd bought this game on GOG because the manual actually explains that Maw was cut in half by Ron. I shouldn't need the manual to know this, not because it's somewhat important backstory, but because it actually happens in the first cutscene. Yeah, that was it. We haven't seen him since.
For every cord of muscle, there is hatred.
Edgy.
It is this hate that keeps his aging body strong.
It's like I always say, you never skip hate day, especially when you're forced to skip leg day. Later, bitch. Oh. After I hit him, he goes to the next part of the arena where he's willing to play.
Weaponless. Kill me!
All these Dark Jedi sound like they get off on telling me to kill them, like they're all Force-sensitive Big Johns.
Come on, kill me! Come on, do it now! Kill me, I'm here! Girly man! Big John! Yeah, that's me.
Excellent, Katan. You've started your journey to the dark side.
Okay, Jarek, come on now. This dude is gonna kill you. Don't do anything stupid, and he's kidnapped Jan.
Looks like I can't bail you out of trouble this time.
If you're dark side Kyle, you'll kill Jan, which isn't canon.
Strike her down and realize your true destiny as a dark Jedi, your true power.
Jarek has to die, but I kinda love him and his line delivery.
Morgan Katan. No. A pity. Then you will die.
Jarek places you into a not easily escapable situation inside of a falling ship, which might be the coolest level in this game. And must have been absolutely mind-blowing in '97. It's still kinda awkward and weird, but like, damn, this is a lot. This is that good shit. I love how the robots still attack you, but the human enemies are trying to run away.
1 minute, 0 seconds to impact.
When Kyle gets his ship back, named the Moldy Crow in this game, he shows why Jan is the one who flies it because he immediately crashes it. The 3 Dark Jedi who aren't Jarek and aren't dead yet find you. Bakaseka breaks your lightsaber, fucks off, and Saris here wants to kill you, but Jan, who you spared earlier, decides to have a sense of honor in his dying breath.
Why?
He is a Jedi. He deserves a battle.
With acting that ranges from, like I'm totally dying, to having sex with a warm apple pie. You grab his yellow lightsaber to fight Ilsa, she-wolf of the Dark Jedi, who spends most of this fight in a small rock corridor.
Out of all the Dark Jedi I have met, Saris is the one I can say I fear.
She can pull weapons from your hands and hurts you by looking at you. It would be more difficult without a light surge power-up, which gives you infinite force power temporarily. This is followed by my most hated mission in this game, this dark, confusing mess of gray corridors that is deliberately a dark and confusing mess of gray corridors, the Imperial installation at the Valley of the Jedi, a thing they build pretty fucking quick. I think they build a cloning facility under there too, since there's another place that infinitely spawns stormtroopers. However, since I chose the light side, I have force protection, which is almost broken in terms of how effective it is. They shouldn't have dug so deep though. There's bad stuff. Kell dragons. Oh hey guys, been a while. And what kind of YouTube man would I be if I didn't rise to the occasion?
Round 1. Fight! Fight!
KO!
Alright, we're here, and along the way, Kyle Katarn has graduated from unstoppable mercenary murder machine to unstoppable Jedi murder machine. He rescues Jan and fights Bach.
I can't abide this creature named Bach. He is one of the few that actually uses two lightsabers in battle.
Wow, that sounds dangerous. I'd better... Jesus! Down, boy! Okay, well, at least he didn't beg me to kill him. Now it's time for Jarek.
His heavy brow overshadows the empty recesses that normally embrace eyes. Jarek has the uncanny power to absorb and overshadow one's connection to the Force. Like a dark cloud. A deep, empowering grasp of your will is what you need.
This is actually a hint. Go up there through that tunnel and grab the power-up.
You cannot defeat me.
I can, but I didn't remember how it worked at first because it's been forever. I thought hitting these buttons moved the statues closer to the power source that Jarek uses to heal himself, and that I could block him off from getting there. And that's not how that works. And if he gets himself stuck in there, the whole thing starts again. What you have to do is let him go up there and then hit the buttons on the outside to stop his healing, then go up and whack his ass with the lightsaber to get him out again. I only had to do this once because I'm playing on normal, I suppose, and also I'm Kyle motherfucking Katarn. Yeah, make the same pain sound over and over, Jarek. It won't save you. You kill Kyle's dad, you know what he does in retaliation? Kills hundreds of soldiers, mercenaries, a few dark Jedi, learns space magic in a very short period of time, and dodges your bullshit lightning, which is actually all Civvie, baby. I hope Kyle doesn't fall to the dark side in that game I haven't played and then recovers because of Mara Jade. You know, Mara Jade, it doesn't matter. I haven't even looked that deeply into Star Wars lore, and this was spoiled for me. And now it's spoiled for you. Can you spoil non-canon? Who knows?
Strike me down, and the power of the dark side will be yours. I'm sure you haven't forgotten. I was the one who murdered your father.
No, I haven't.
Kyle Katarn is on his way to becoming one of the most powerful, important Jedi in all of the extended Star Wars canon. And in the next game, he goes so far as to meet Luke Skywalker and kill even more stormtroopers and dark Jedi. Next time a Sith is talking about the power of the dark side in anything Star Wars related, remember this face, and if you can't, remember this beard. LucasArts at one time was known for things other than Star Wars games, like point-and-click adventures. But around the turn of the century, the prequels were coming out, and they went all in on Star Wars. They were making so much Star Wars that they had to start contracting Star Wars out to other studios. And you know what that means. Handing off their IPs to some low-bid contract with a fly-by-night dev that's gonna make a trashy game. That's how it usually goes. But no, something else happened. The contract went to a real studio. One that had proven itself capable of handling licensed games, with one adaptation of a magazine, and then something a little more on-brand, a Star Trek game. The contract went to the incomparable Raven Software. They'd moved from the wobbly limitations of the Quake 2 engine to the bespoke, ultra-sleek Quake 3 engine. I mean, just look at those curves. IP licensing doesn't usually go well, unless you give it to Raven at the height of their power, a company so ludicrously talented that they made a good Star Trek game and a great Star Wars game in the span of 3 years. And Raven had to convince LucasArts to make it a game with Jedi stuff. See, at the end of Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight 1 Mysteries of the Sith, a thing I don't really want to play, but one that I will summarize here, Kyle Katarn, who became the leading cause of stormtrooper deaths once the rebels stopped blowing up Death Stars, almost fell to the dark side, but was turned back by his Padawan, former Imperial assassin and future wife of Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade. Kyle decided to swear off Force use entirely, which leads into this game where he has no Jedi powers whatsoever. Yeah, it's called Jedi Knight 2 and not Dark Forces 3. I don't really know why, but I'm still gonna make jokes about it. I'm sorry if I'm shortchanging Mara Jade, as I know she's very prominent in the extended universe, but I'd like to play a Star Wars game I actually like. And nothing on this earth reminds me of when Star Wars was good like Jedi Knight 2. I'm actually playing this game slightly modded for convenience because while it will run out of the box on Windows 10, I like to have a better field of view and some other enhancements we'll talk about later. Purely cosmetic ones, as we're talking about a Raven game that encourages melee combat and still comes with a complete arsenal of fun sci-fi murder sticks. While I do miss the cheesy live-action cutscenes, Kyle's sharp polygonal beard looks almost as dangerous as it actually is. Jan Ors, Kyle's longtime partner, accompanies him on a mission to discover what the Imperial Remnant is up to.
The Valley of the Jedi?
Reborn?
They're not there yet, but it is a factor. The Valley of the Jedi is a shortcut to getting good with the Force, so it will feature prominently in this game. Right as it starts, this feels different. Jan is on the ground with you, helping out. Like Dark Forces and Jedi Knight, you will have a Stormtrooper rifle soon. Very soon. For this section of the game, headshots are very important. Unless they're crouching, then forget it. Doming a stormtrooper with a laser blast to the head felt new in this game simply because the technology to do it wasn't quite there when the first Jedi Knight game hit. Here though, well, Raven fell back on their ghoul system from Soldier of Fortune, minus the spectacularly bloody effects that game was known for. This is a bit tamer. Jedi Knight 2 is rated T for teen, but don't let that fool you. We kill so many people. So many stormtroopers. The first major section of this game is infiltrating this base and shooting Imperial foot soldiers. It's all very familiar, as they're the same types you've been shooting since Dark Forces, although this time they have a fresh coat of paint and, more importantly, much more sophisticated AI. Okay, bad example. They are faster, they aim better than any stormtrooper you've ever seen, and they try very hard to avoid laser blasts. This first section is one of the hardest in the game because the stormtroopers have gotten some weapons training. Their rifles are still comically inaccurate. Being so used to bullets, it is a little harder to adjust to moving targets and leading your shots. There's lots of pew-pewing and missing your target, which is frustrating. However, in the middle of these battles, as countless lasers zoom by, it feels right. It feels like those old Star Wars battles where they would fill the screen with lasers, and only sometimes did any of them actually hit someone. For anyone who is asking for a return to the simpler gameplay of the original Dark Forces, the first act of Jedi Knight 2 gives you more of it than you ever could have asked for. This first level, aside from the better graphics, would feel right at home as a Dark Forces mission. You have to run around, shoot an absolutely staggering number of stormtroopers, solve some simple puzzles, and roam the decently non-linear level. Sure, you could run straight into the fray with Jan, but you could also go under the elevator here and blow up this thing. I don't remember what this does aside from almost kill you, but I love it. While it is mostly the same kind of movement as previous games, though less jank because id Tech, I'm sorry, you know that's true. Except the lean. Disgusting. This is all very Dark Forces, just prettier. As pretty as I've seen a pure Quake 3 engine game look, with the Star Wars aesthetics implemented perfectly. Jan, who's never a hindrance, gets pinned down and we have to go help her, flanking the stormtroopers closing in. One of them dies like this, a wonderful and absurd pre-ragdoll effect. Deeper into the base now, Jan is returned to the ship and you continue shooting stormtroopers at a rate that, at this point, was probably a little excessive. The level design is reminiscent of Dark Forces and a little a Jedi Knight, but it's tighter, more streamlined, with fun little distractions like this training room filled with ineffectual turrets and useful items. You circle through this area several times, and if you hit the right switches, you're rewarded for it every time. The game sets up all of its non-combat fun in these levels too. Piloting droids to get past obstacles. This droid gives us our best glimpse yet at the enhanced Quake 3 graphics technology that has significantly caked up Kyle Katarn. I'd let him force choke me. Katie, I know you're probably not going to cut that, but I am begging you to cut that. I will give you 15 cigarettes to cut that. If you don't believe me, the Remnant is spying on him and just...
Katarn, eh? This setback could prove to be the answer to all our problems.
I am not zooming in on Kyle's ass. The cutscene is doing that. This is Admiral Fyar. He will be our non-force-powered antagonist for this game, and the fact that he doesn't piss himself at the mere mention of the name Kyle Katarn shows that he is a very stupid man. From what we can gather, the Imperial Remnant is experimenting with special crystals. What's really shocking is seeing Coruscant in the background. We're finally playing a post-prequel Star Wars game, but here's Mon Martha. Mon Martha? Mon Martha? Mom Mothra? Who's been giving us these missions.
Our scientists believe that they were trying to artificially infuse the powers of the Force into living subjects. Those crystals you're holding are very much like those found in a Jedi's lightsaber.
Fast! But that's impossible, isn't it? You can't just give people the Force with a machine, right?
If only I had something to point to that proved that the magic of Star Wars can't be recaptured with some artless mechanical process that...
Everything we know about the Force tells us that such devices are nothing but the fevered dreams of fools and madmen, Jan. But try telling that to those poor beings you found in that laboratory.
These crystals lead us to a mining colony on Artus Prime where there's a bowcaster right at the start, thank God. Your stormtrooper culling is occasionally interrupted by the kind of light puzzle solving that you'd expect in Dark Forces, as well as the side areas full of annoying alien creatures that are surprisingly resistant to laser blasts. No worries though, you got infrared. I don't think any of these things hit me during this playthrough, and that's my proudest accomplishment of this game. Fuck those things. There is some kind of Imperial detention center inside this mine, and the most stormtroopers I've ever seen outside of an open battlefield.
Get up. You're gonna help me release some prisoners.
This whole time I've been killing these guys and stealing their keys, but I'm supposed to keep my crosshair on this one so he helps open all the cells? And you can hold him up with a thermal detonator too, any weapon works.
You won't get away with this, rebel scum.
Excuse me, Mr. Space Nazi, but technically you guys are the rebels now. But don't worry, you'll always be scum to me.
I think I already have.
All right, you can have a couple of nibbles, but I need this guy alive for some reason.
Enough of this charade.
Hey, come back here, god damn it! We didn't need him alive for anything. The New Republic sends some ships to help rescue all the prisoners, and a fairly large-scale battle is started outside the mine. And instead of the game telling you to move your ass, it encourages you to do so by throwing an AT-ST at you. In this game, and probably in others, your normal weapons do nothing to it. Explosives do, but you're not carrying the really big guns yet. So you have to get to a turret, protect the prisoners, and destroy the defenses to let the ships in. It feels bigger and more important than it is. It could be the most difficult part of the game. It's just gonna make Kyle mad, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to piss off Kyle Katarn. Just don't do it. Do not, under any circumstances, threaten someone Kyle cares about.
Prisoner for you, Master Dasan.
Oh no.
Well done, Tavion. Secure her in the cargo hold and prepare her for processing.
Wait, is this guy...
Kyle? Kyle Katarn? You're the legendary hero who destroyed Jarek at the Valley of the Jedi? You look like nothing more than a bantha herder.
Okay, don't be throwing around insults about how other people look. You look like you're about to open your mouth to let me start NES Jurassic Park. You look like Barney with vitiligo.
Well, you look like an overgrown Kowakian monkey lizard, so I guess looks don't count for much. Hand her over.
Yes, Kyle with the assist. Roast his ass like the fallout from a meteor hitting the Yucatan. Oh. Shit.
You desire this woman? Come, take her.
Ah, Sith spit.
Yeah, about that. Jedi Knight 2 shows you just how bad you're gonna lose a fight against a Force user if you've only got conventional weapons. You'd think, yeah, he'll deflect my lasers, right? So let's try a thermal detonator, blow him up.
Too easy.
No, awful idea. Do not, under any circumstances, send explosives towards them because they'll send them right back. I sent a bowcaster shot his way and he's behind cover and he sends it right back into my face. This is embarrassing. Kyle's losing to Dasan like he's a common Nar Shaddaa pit.
You're pathetic, Katarn. As a Jedi, you might have proven a worthy adversary. But without the power of the Force, you're not worth the effort it would take to strike you down. Perhaps your woman will prove to be of heartier stock.
Ew.
On second thought, Tavion, kill her.
Jan!
Oh! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up! You have fucked up now! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up!
The Empire has, in the past, made many bad decisions. Now, Dasan thinks he's being clever, and he kinda is. Like, the first few steps of this plan are great for him. Kyle is so pissed that he killed Jan.
The death of Katarn's woman has driven him mad and delivered the Valley of the Jedi into our hands.
However, he made Kyle so angry that his next stop is the Valley of the Jedi to get his mojo back. Dasan follows him so that he can find the Valley of the Jedi and use it to make new Dark Jedi easily instead of doing that dumb shit with all the crystals that wasn't working. Cool plan, you'll be pumping out Dark Force users like iPhones, just one small problem. Kyle Katarn now has Force powers again, despite protests from his dumb ghost dad. This would be a perfect plan if you'd killed him before he got his powers back. Now? Imagine if John Wick shot lightning from his fucking fingers. As soon as he jumped into that force beam, you might as well have spaced yourself, cause it's over, it's done. After getting back his powers from performance-enhancing ancient shrines, he gives zero fucks. His next stop is to get his lightsaber back. From the Jedi Temple on Yavin 4, where he casually just shit-talks Jedi in front of Luke Skywalker.
Why can't you Jedi ever do things the simple way?
If the ways of the Jedi were easy, there'd be millions of us instead of dozens. Take Dasan, for example. He was born on a planet unused to the wonders of the Force, where his seemingly magical abilities caused him to be feared and shunned by those around him. His childhood was one of loneliness and despair until a visiting trader discovered him, recognized the Force within him, and brought him to the Jedi Academy.
Oh, okay, so this is your fault. You never could follow through with the bad ones, Luke.
Over time, however, things changed. He became cold, severe. He belittled his fellow students for what he perceived to be their weaknesses. During a training session, he struck down and killed a fellow student in cold blood.
I mean, isn't everything he does in cold blood? Because he's, you know, like a lizard or whatever?
He fled before we could counsel him.
Don't fuck with the Jedi Master, son.
Luke makes you jump through some hoops to get your lightsaber back from the ruined temple. You have to relearn a few of your force powers, push, pull, and speed. Oh, and force jump, but that one activates automatically. You gotta bind a key to the others unless you want to be shuffling through the inventory of them on top of your other inventory. It's a good tutorial that gives you a sense of how long your force powers last and how much juice they take from your force pool. So you speed towards a lowering cage and force pull your lightsaber out. As soon as the game switches to third person, I feel a rush of excitement. I didn't feel it the first time I played because I didn't know what was coming. They only teach you the lightsaber throw here, and while that is my favorite thing to do, I love it, it tickles my brain just right, the average player is not prepared for how hard this game's lightsaber combat goes. They've tracked Hassan's ship to a gangster named Relo Baruch, who is on Nar Shaddaa, a city that is and will always be a giant pain in the ass. Kyle Katarn walks into a bar.
Sure, no problem.
They don't take his lightsaber. They don't take his lightsaber.
Bartender. Bartender.
Ah, Jedis. I had no ideas. What can I do for you, Honored Jedis?
I'm no Jedi. I'm just a guy with a lightsaber and a few questions. What do you know about Relo Baruch?
A respected waste disposal managers.
There wasn't a more obvious code word for mobster.
Do you know where I can find Baruch?
Trulies.
Trulies.
Okay.
Never trust a bartender with bad grammar.
What follows is like if that scene in A New Hope where Obi-Wan slices that alien's arm off ended with Obi-Wan slicing through the entire Mos Eisley cantina. As soon as that bartender closes the door, it is bedlam. Lasers and thermal detonators coming from every direction, overwhelming the first time you play it. But you have to remember that this level, as much of a pain in the ass as it can be, is designed around force powers as well as lightsaber combat. And it's the best lightsaber combat you've ever fucking seen, and you haven't even unlocked the light and heavy styles. The enemies are in a hopeless situation even if dealing with a new player. There's plenty of stuff here that you could do in the first Jedi Knight game, but it feels better here. More polished, more fluid. Jumping, flipping, landing, your lightsaber constantly being a danger to the enemy even when you're not swinging. Those bastard Grands and their thermal detonators that have been busting your balls for 2 games become a lot easier to kill when the design and physics cooperate. Not 2 levels ago, I was this guy right here, getting my own explosives tossed back into my face. Jump on them, knock them down, cut their heads off. Jedi Knight 2 had a more robust dismemberment system before they shipped it, but they wanted a T-rated game. But remember how I said I'd added a couple mods? Well, this is the big one. Full dismemberment. You're welcome. Why not do a flip, return a thermal detonator to sender, jump away again, and toss your lightsaber through 2 of them? Jedi Knight 1 had lightsaber combat, but Jedi Knight 2 has the best lightsaber combat. The character animations and the meticulous design of the hitboxes and the ghoul system, the way the saber sparks and cuts anything it comes into contact with, including walls. You may not think it's the best lightsaber combat in any Star Wars game, although I think it is, but I could easily argue that it is the foundation by which all good lightsaber combat was built. And then the rest of the level is you getting sniped with disruptor beams. I mean, yeah, you can use your currently weak force push to throw people off ledges, but not when they're that far away. This is more of a force speed problem. All of these enemies are more dangerous than stormtroopers and have better weaponry, and you still can't hit a motherfucker in the head when he's crouching, and that's really annoying. I absolutely hated this level for the longest time because it wasn't all lightsaber slashing. And the snipers, obviously, and the bottomless pits, all things that are common to Nar Shaddaa and why I hate going there in every game. But my god, to bear witness to a licensed game that made you feel like a true goddamn Jedi Knight without the jank that held down the previous and, to be fair, impressive early 3D efforts. Remember how I said that Raven had to convince LucasArts to make a Jedi game and not just a regular shooter? Well, they did it by showing LucasArts what would become this lightsaber combat. If you ever need to show someone why Raven deserves better than the COD mines, look up this level. So many of the people responsible for this are still at Raven working on COD. That's like finding out your favorite porn star is working at Hooters. Now that we have fun Jedi powers, they level up between each section. Like here, Force Jump is now level 2. You don't control how things level up like in Jedi Academy, so that kinda sucks. Also, unlike in the other Jedi Knight games, there's no special ending if you're evil. We've infiltrated Relo Baruch's waste disposal facility, the most Dark Forces style level yet. It's got cargo areas that are bottomless pits, massive garbage crushers I speed through even though I probably don't have to. Our mission isn't complicated. Find gangster, question gangster, avoid dozens of snipers inside. They put snipers inside behind cover as if Relo Baruch isn't a complete idiot and is actually trying to stop you. He handles the trash for that bar, so he's likely been sifting through pieces of his employees wondering why the bouncers let you keep a lightsaber. So I'm wandering through this level because I don't think I'll ever memorize the layout. Truly a Dark Forces level. Until I come upon another cell block.
Kyle Katarn?
Lando, what are you doing here?
I am not stupid Star Wars naming Lando Calrissian. Not a chance. That's Billy D. Williams, too. Video games in the early 2000s weren't going to score a Harrison Ford cameo, or even a Mark Hamill one. But Billy D seems happy to do it. And Lando knows Kyle Katarn already, because Kyle Katarn is fucking awesome. It turns out that some smugglers set up shop in Cloud City, and he's investigating it himself.
I came down here to find Relo and persuade him to hand over the names of his employer.
Persuade?
Hey, I can be a charming guy when I want to.
Yeah, checks out.
After a few bar fights and card games, I hadn't gotten any closer to Relo, but I had begun to hear about a remnant bigwig named Desan. Then I was captured.
Want me to get you out of here?
If it's not too much trouble. You'll need the password to get into Relo's command center and open the cells.
Any idea what that might be?
Yeah, it's Ruby Bleals.
The internet tells me that a Ruby Bleal is a drink, not a person, but I don't care. We leave Lando to use that password and find Relo.
What's a respectable gangster like you doing mixed up with a remnant slime like Desan?
There's money, right?
Making money, of course.
Uh-huh. Wow, I can't believe someone would work with weird fascists for money. That's crazy. He isn't that stupid because he runs away. It turns out that more turrets and armed goons won't stop you. You meet up with Lando again and...
I ran into Relo.
Did he tell you anything about the smuggling ring?
We didn't talk much.
I see. Listen, we'd better get out of here. My ship's hidden nearby. What about yours?
Relo's thugs have probably already stripped it for parts by now.
What about Jan?
Jan's not with me on this one.
You two have had another one of your fights, haven't you?
Lando, no, she is totally 100% dead. I'm telling you, I almost saw it with my own eyes.
Ah, there's my baby.
We've got to deactivate a tractor beam and refuel Lando's ship, the Lady Luck, which you realize as soon as you're inside that you should never ever run a blacklight over any of the surfaces and just not think about it. It is a luxury yacht. This ship has drawn more tail than a furry artist. Thankfully it has a turret and we can ice Relo unceremoniously. Lando flies us back towards Cloud City, talking about how now he's going to have a strike team deal with those remnant smugglers and...
No!
I thought you'd be happy to...
They'll tip off Desan.
Then we'll catch him later. Getting Desan isn't as important as clearing the city.
Jan's dead, Lando. Desan and his minion killed her.
Kyle's force abilities are still rusty, okay? He doesn't know.
Greif, I'm sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, whatever Greif means, I'm sure it's comforting. Lando drops us off on the outskirts of Cloud City, where we have to do some weird platforming to ascend. Yes, that's very Dark Forces, very LucasArts-style level design. Despite sharing no level designers with the previous games, Raven seemed to understand and care about a kind of continuity between games and their design, which is nice, even if it sometimes results in some awkwardness. Oh, right, my bad. That's a really pretty skybox. We've unlocked our Jedi mind trick power, which is useful for getting unwilling guards to open doors and to momentarily confuse enemies, though I find that they're awfully confused when their heads roll off. So you're ascending these huge recreations of those tunnels from Empire Strikes Back, and they look great, of course. It's Raven, it's id Tech. Just as you're getting sick of fighting the same 3 aliens over and over.
I sense a disturbance in the Force, but there's something strange about it.
You will die!
Oh yeah, now we're talking. Real goddamn lightsaber fights, and they're not just for boss battles in this game. You get common enemies, the Reborn, that you get to battle against. This one is obviously going to be one of the easier ones, right? Well, not so much. The limited space you have makes things a little tough. But then you finish him off at a slow-motion camera pan and... Oh, it's beautiful. The sounds and effects for lightsabers smacking against each other are absolutely perfect. Just swinging your sword at them isn't going to help. You need to find openings to hit them, and that's easier once you get the hang of it. I like this level aside from having to make sure an R5 unit makes it through a gauntlet where it'll roll right into laser trip mines. Kyle's just too sad that it died. It also had some codes that would give us access, but you know, this is dumb and a pain, but it was 2002 and every game needed one of these. The Force Stealth section later is way worse. Back to the real fun, schooling these posers. I like to jump around and try to land attacks on the way down. It seems to throw off the AI a little bit.
The Force betrays you.
Having to return to dodging Rhodian snipers through the city and fighting alongside security staff feels less exciting than the lightsaber fights, and I don't even hate the gunplay in this game. It's just that after the few small tastes of power, the game hears me. I'm not surprised when this happens. I am so very happy. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Do you fear me? Force betrayed.
Saber throws don't work that often, but when they do, it feels real nice. I didn't get to mention it, but the Imperial repeater has become the heavy repeater, which is, ooh, you won't see it much, but it also, like most of the weapons in this game, fucks. This is about when stormtroopers start showing up again, and with the memory of their sheer numbers and enhanced brutality still fresh in my head, having a lightsaber to deal with them is as cathartic as this game gets.
Stormtroopers.
You might think I'm not taking full advantage of my force powers, but I promise the deep pits of Cloud City are littered with fresh corpses.
Blast 'em!
Now, the Reborn come in different flavors. They all carry lightsabers and have basically the same attacks, however some are more susceptible to cheese. Observe. And the lower tier Dark Jedi, not Sith, I'm told. They're not supposed to be called Sith, I don't know why. The lower tier Dark Jedi can be easily cheesed, but as soon as you get to Tavion, you realize that your shitty little tricks aren't going to be enough.
You still don't know, do you? Desan followed you to the Valley of the Jedi. Even now, hundreds of Desan's loyal followers are drinking deeply from the Valley's power, becoming reborn in the glory of the Force. And we owe it all to you.
Then you killed Jan?
That's right. We killed your woman to make you angry. Angry enough to cast aside your promises and rashly seek out the power of the Valley.
Yeah, Kyle, you kind of boned this one. But in your defense, you're going to clean it up real good.
Stop talking!
Kyle's channeling Shatner with that one. He's pissed. But Tavion doesn't go down easy. Yeah, see, she's sophisticated. You gotta keep your distance and be patient to land strikes. Keep your back to tanks handy, or force heal if you want to heal slowly and badly. Kyle is having none of her shit.
Don't! Mercy!
The kind of mercy you showed Jan?
She lives! I can tell you where she is!
Liar! I saw her die!
Kyle!
Jan!
Think. What did you really see? What did you really hear? Do you believe we'd risk killing one of the only two people who knew the location of the Valley of the Jedi?
She makes a lot of sense, and she's hot, and I'm a little concerned about how easily she's able to talk while someone is choking her, but Kyle, man, I know you're a little rusty with the Force, but couldn't you sense Jan still being alive? Is that more or less difficult than shooting lightning from your hands? Tavion tells us we can find her if we take that ship over there to Fyar's ship, the Doomgiver.
Why should I believe you?
Because I'm not brave enough to die!
Yeah, okay, that checks out. We won't kill her, even though we've been killing Reborn like a womp rat infestation. Dasan would probably kill her, or maybe she'll change her ways and start wearing half of a white outfit instead. We get onto the ship and start cutting down Imperials like training dummies, right? Until...
Skywalker? What are you doing here?
They didn't have to pay Mark Hamill, so they can have as much Luke in this game as they want, but Bob Bergen, the voice actor playing him, did Luke in a bunch of Star Wars games, and also Porky Pig just as many times.
With the Valley of the Jedi's power coursing through those crystals, Dasan has succeeded in infusing his troops with the power of the Force.
Ah, Sith spit. I think I ran into one of them on Bespin. Are they still in the Valley?
Not anymore. I managed to scatter Dasan and his reborn troops, and Rogue Squadron chased away their ships. For now, the Valley's effectively sealed off.
Oh, that's... good job. I thought I'd have to take care of that. We're still in the Luke has his shit together era of Star Wars.
But we have no idea how many troops Dasan managed to empower before we got there.
Not enough. In what must have blown people's minds in 2002, you get to battle alongside Luke Skywalker. He's still kind of a Boy Scout, so I do all the killing.
Something's changed in you. You seem less... angry.
Maybe. There's a chance Jan may still be alive on the Doomgiver.
Yeah, also, Luke, why don't you know that? Aren't you the most powerful Jedi alive? Can't a Force Ghost tell you? Wait a minute, couldn't have Kyle's dad's Force Ghost told him? They would absolutely know if Jan was dead. No, I can't explain why, but you all know they could. Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
Listen, Skywalker, there's even more to this than you think. Dasan's working with a remnant scientist named Gallic Fyar. They're smuggling something called cortosis here from Bespin.
Damn. That's not good.
Why?
Well, cortosis is a rare mineral that resists lightsabers.
We should get some of that, right? Should we not have that stuff? It might help some people, like literally everyone.
If you run into Dasan, don't try to take him on alone.
That's Luke and Dasan.
Dasan drops a bridge on him. He's okay though, but you won't be fighting alongside him for the rest of the game. That's fine, a little is enough. The first time I played this, I figured he'd only be in cutscenes. These sections of the game also heavily lean on platforming and puzzles between battles while still arming you to the teeth and making you feel like the worst thing to happen to the Empire since Palpatine died. You're gonna be bullying stormtroopers a lot, at one point spacing entire hangars full of them. It's even easier now that you've unlocked the light-style saber moves, which are quicker but less deadly strikes. Well, less deadly to Reborn, exactly as deadly to Stormtroopers.
Too short for a Stormtrooper?
I feel like we get a ton of new abilities and weapons in this section too. I guess we could Force Choke in Lightning before, but the Force Choke levels up at some point because by the end of this whole Doomgiver section, Force Speed works on the lower Reborn too, since they won't just activate Force Speed themselves to match. We haven't completely forgotten about heavy weaponry. We get a rocket launcher, which is useful sometimes, and the destructive electromagnetic pulse gun, which gives you a much better chance against AT-STs. These bigger guns appear about the same time as giant droids that shrug off laser blasts. Here's the Fletchet weapon, which is... it's kind of a flat cannon, let's be honest. And of course the missiles, which I did not ever try to fire at a Jedi, and this is why. Force Push, one of your more leveled up abilities, becomes extremely useful when the game throws its strongest stormtrooper assaults at you. This is the section where it's gonna happen, leading up to and including the Doom Giver. Like, I don't even know what to do with some of this footage, it's insane. They do throw tougher opponents at you too. I mean, rocket troopers and larger droids can easily kill you if you stand still and don't fire. But then you got the shadow troopers who are... not nearly as exploitable as your common reborn. They're fast, tough, they cloak. That only works sometimes. These are the toughest enemies in the game. The toughest single fight for me is inside of this tiny command center where you see an officer and I'm like, I want that guy's supply key, but then...
surprise, motherfucker!
As for non-combat, these few levels are stuffed with set pieces. Spinning killer machines, electrified floors, speeding through the reactor core to not get shot by lasers. There's always something to break up the already amazing gameplay. And sometimes it's bad, because there's a goddamn forced stealth section, which was the style at the yeah, and you can't let someone set off the alarm for reinforcements, even suggesting at this stage of the game that there's a number of stormtroopers that Kyle Katarn can't easily defeat is a joke.
I'm like a god in human clothing! Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips!
Alas, it was 2002 and forced stealth sections were mandatory. So we have one. It's pointless and stupid like they all are. Thankfully, then we get to the Doom Giver. Jan is here and not dead.
I thought you were dead.
Dead? No. In pain? Yes. Dasan and his thugs must have burned out half a dozen interrogation droids trying to get me to crack.
They wanted to know about the Valley of the Jedi, right?
For the first few hours. Then they dropped the subject and started asking me about the layout of the Jedi Academy.
Oh, no.
What?
I think Dasan's invading the Jedi Academy. We've got to destroy the Doomgiver's shields before he can deploy his troops.
Fyar, though, he's not a smart man, and he decides to fight Kyle Katarn, although I am impressed by his moonwalk.
Ah, Captain Katarn. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you face to face.
The pleasure's all yours, I'm sure.
The Oz woman thinks quite highly of you. Did you know that? She must have whimpered your name on at least 17 different occasions over the last few days.
Is that supposed to make me angry? I'm past that, Gallic.
Yeah, stupid idea anyway. Making Kyle Katarn angry screwed this whole plan up in the first place. Existing in the same universe as Kyle Katarn doomed this plan.
Then what if I tell you that even as we speak, Dasan is descending on the Jedi Academy with...
Yeah, I know, shut up. You don't even belong here, you fucking stooge. This is the big leagues, okay? You got lightsaber-resistant armor and a shield? Let's see how that goes. And then the gravity fails and we have a really awkward zero-G section where your movement isn't what you'd think. It's not like 6 Degrees of Freedom. It's like someone took Ziggurat Vertigo and painted Star Wars over it. It isn't great. Once we escape, we get a neat little space battle cutscene because Raven seemed interested in incorporating every Star Wars thing they could possibly cram into this game, tastefully. Kyle and Jan crash land on Yavin 4. That's right, we're back.
I'm going after Dasan. He's probably heading for the heart of the Academy. You coming?
I think I'd be more useful in the air. I'll go to the hangar and join the New Republic troops.
Okay. Try to avoid anyone with a lightsaber.
Good advice, Jedi.
I like her. I'm glad she's not dead. But Jedi, they have this whole thing about not taking wives. It was a real problem back in the day. Oh, that's right. I forgot we're dealing with Kyle Katarn, who would tell the Jedi Council to suck a bantha tit. Get in the comments to tell me that banthas don't have tits. What I love about this scene is not that Kyle and Jan kiss, it's that the designers knew that two dead-eyed Quake 3 models with their faces pressed together would look fucking awful, so they carefully position the camera to obscure their faces. But also...
Nice fucking model!
Now that we're a mile away from the Jedi Academy, we have to make it the rest of the way on foot through the swamps. I can't believe they didn't put a sewer level in this one, that's weird. Anyway, swamps with swamp troopers and muck that makes you turn off your lightsaber. They will die from ricochets off your lightsaber, because they're stupid. Somehow, Raven thought to have the raindrops spark off of the lightsaber. I don't have anything to really add to this, I just think that's cool. These swamps are the hardest thing to navigate in the game. Where you're supposed to go could be a tiny crack in the wall. It's not fun, and maybe Raven knew that, so they give you an ATST section. Why not? It's a little funky to control because it feels like a giant mechanical chicken. I think that's intentional. Once you get into the Jedi Academy, it's time to school some Dark Jedi, and Master Katarn came in hungover and pissed off. Dasan may be the final boss of this game, but he's not the hardest thing. You have to force push some buttons to activate a beam that makes you invincible for a little while so you can strike him, otherwise he'll just kill you. It's a test of your abilities to run away. Lame, 7.5 out of 10. I wanted to force kick his teeth into his brains. I mean, yeah, you can do the whole running thing. Or... However, right before you face Dasan, the real test happens, and that's this 4v1 fight right here. 2 Shadow Troopers and 2 Reborn in this courtyard. At least now we have access to heavy lightsaber strikes, perfect for Force tourists who think they have power. I had to try this a few times, because you can just walk away. I actually found a walkthrough that tells you to run past them. Not today. Class is in motherfucking session. Dasan makes you go through some temple traps before the actual fight and goes down easy. Like I said, if you don't get close to him, you don't have much to worry about.
You should have known it would take a failed Jedi to take out another failed Jedi.
Kyle, you were never a failure.
Luke,
I know. I'll be happy to hold your lightsaber for safekeeping.
No, I think I'll keep it.
Ha! I knew it! Lando owes me 5 credits.
Are you sure this is what you want, Kyle?
Look, I'm not saying I'm ready to join the Academy or anything like that. I mean, before I do anything, I figure that Jan and I have earned a long vacation on the beaches of Spyra. And after that, well...
After that, we'll see.
Yeah.
Take your time, Kyle. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Thanks, and may the Force be with you, Luke.
Oh, that's special. Their hands never meet or grip. They're doing a force handshake. And thus ends the playable adventures of Kyle motherfucking Katarn, the baddest man to ever wield a lightsaber. The unkillable plague upon stormtroopers would go on to teach at the Jedi Academy and become the Jedi's battle master in some of the non-canon extended universe novels. Because of course he did. Who else would you possibly pick? Some reading suggests that Kyle Katarn was killed by Kylo Ren, which is fucking nonsense. Get that out of here. Kylo Ren wouldn't shave a hair from Kyle Katarn's beard before he got bitch-slapped and bisected. And Kyle Katarn's the only one I'd ever believe if he said,
"If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine."
I spit on your canon, Disney. Your products will never sully the holy name of Katarn. Blessed be Katarn, and blessed be Raven Software, his final shepherds into the halls of legend.